What if you could pack your bags, buy a plane ticket and land in Canada? No embassy, no months of visa processing, no interviews. Just go. For decades, that idea felt impossible for many Caribbean citizens. Canada's visa requirements were strict, and even short trips to see family or attend a wedding came with mountains of paperwork. But in 2025, Canada is ripping up that rulebook for 7 Caribbean countries, making one of its most dramatic immigration shifts in recent memory. It's not just a travel perk, it's a political statement. A country known for tight border policies is now saying, "We trust you." So which countries made the cut? Why now? And what does this mean for the future of Caribbean travel and Canada's global strategy? Let's break it down. Number 7. Barbados. Barbados has always carried a reputation for political stability and robust governance, and this reputation has played a key role in Canada's decision to grant it visa-free access. Unlike some nations that have experienced political unrest or fluctuations in governance, Barbados has maintained consistent democratic systems, independent courts, and strong law enforcement structures. Its passport is one of the most powerful in the Caribbean, already offering citizens visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to over 160 countries. Adding Canada to that list is not just symbolic. It's a recognition of Barbados' track record in maintaining secure and credible travel documents. The country has also invested in biometric passports and strict border management systems, reducing fraud and overstays, 2 critical factors Canada considers before approving visa waivers. Beyond security and governance, the Canada-Barbados relationship is deeply rooted in decades of cultural and economic exchange. Ontario, British Columbia, and Alberta have significant Barbadian diaspora communities, many of whom migrated during the 1950s and 60s when Canada encouraged workers from the Caribbean to meet labor shortages. These communities remain tightly linked to family back home, frequently traveling for weddings, funerals, holidays, and investment opportunities. Now, visa-free access will make these interactions seamless. A Barbadian family could now book a flight on Thursday and attend a cousin's graduation in Toronto on the weekend without worrying about consular backlogs. For businesses, it means more face-to-face meetings with Canadian investors and partners, particularly in finance, real estate, and technology sectors, where Barbados has been steadily expanding. There's also a tourism reciprocity effect. Canada is already one of Barbados's top tourist markets, with tens of thousands of Canadians visiting annually, especially in winter. With visa-free travel, Barbadian entrepreneurs in the tourism and travel industries can now attend Canadian trade fairs, seek partnerships, and expand their customer base far more efficiently. In short, Canada's decision is a direct acknowledgement of Barbados as a reliable partner and a low-risk travel destination. Number 6. The Bahamas. The Bahamas has long been a gateway between North America and the Caribbean, thanks to its strong aviation infrastructure and customs practices. With one of the busiest airports in the Caribbean, Nassau's Lynden Pindling International Airport, already equipped with U.S. pre-clearance facilities, Bahamian travelers are accustomed to high security and streamlined customs procedures. That experience translates to strong trust from Canada when considering travel waivers. Canada and the Bahamas already share close educational and medical links. Canadian universities attract Bahamian students every year, and many Bahamians travel north for specialized healthcare, especially in cardiology and oncology. Until now, every trip required passing through a visa process that often took weeks and came with unpredictable processing times. The new visa-free rule changes that dynamic completely. For Bahamian families, this policy shift will be life-changing. They can now attend weddings, graduations, and family reunions in Canadian cities like Toronto, Calgary, and Vancouver, without worrying about visa deadlines or rejections. Spontaneous travel becomes possible. A weekend visit to explore Niagara Falls or a quick business trip to Toronto's growing fintech sector is now as simple as booking a ticket and filling out a short electronic travel authorization. There's also an economic angle. The Bahamas economy is heavily tourism-driven, and Canadian travelers already form a significant portion of its high-spending visitors. This visa-free travel pathway is expected to increase two-way tourism. Canadians exploring Bahamian resorts more frequently, while Bahamians have greater access to Canada's cultural and economic hubs. The move also encourages business and investment collaboration. Canadian banks like Scotiabank already have a strong footprint in the Bahamas, and industries such as renewable energy, offshore banking, and digital technologies are rapidly expanding. Bahamian entrepreneurs can now attend Canadian expos, explore new partnerships, and access specialized training programs with unprecedented ease. Ultimately, Canada's decision acknowledges the Bahamas not just as a vacation hotspot, but as a trusted, mature travel partner with modern infrastructure, a strong rule of law, and proven passport security. Number 5. St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis may be the smallest sovereign state in the Western Hemisphere by both population and land area, but it has made a disproportionately large impact on global travel and investment. Its Citizenship by Investment program, once controversial for being among the most accessible in the world, has undergone significant reforms. These include stricter background checks, advanced biometric passports, and greater oversight to prevent abuse. Therefore, Canada's decision to grant visa-free access is a direct acknowledgement that these reforms worked. It signals a high level of trust not just in the government's security systems, but also in its ability to manage immigration responsibly. For St. Kitts and Nevis citizens, the results are profound. Students and researchers can now travel to Canada without the long delays that once made short academic exchanges or training programs difficult. Entrepreneurs and business professionals, many of whom are involved in real estate, tourism, and emerging tech, can now attend Canadian networking events and expos on short notice, positioning themselves to build partnerships in one of the world's most dynamic economies. Tourism also gets a boost. St. Kitts and Nevis's reputation as a luxury travel destination dovetails with Canada's growing high-income tourist base. Visa-free travel enables travel agents, hospitality executives, and even creative industry professionals from St. Kitts to forge deeper connections with Canadian travel firms, boosting bilateral tourism. This isn't just about ease of movement. It's about economic diversification for a small state with global ambitions. Number 4. St. Lucia. St. Lucia is often celebrated for its iconic Piton Mountains and pristine beaches, but its connection to Canada goes far beyond tourism. For decades, St. Lucian diaspora communities in Canadian cities like Toronto and Montreal have maintained strong family and cultural ties to the island, remitting money, supporting local schools, and investing in small businesses. However, until now, traveling for personal reasons, like attending a relative's wedding, a graduation, or a funeral, required months of advance planning due to visa processing. With this new visa-free policy, such trips become seamless, allowing families to maintain closer bonds despite living thousands of kilometers apart. On the business side, St. Lucia has been steadily expanding its services sector, including financial services, digital startups, and professional training programs. The visa-free travel policy unlocks opportunities for St. Lucian business leaders and small entrepreneurs to attend Canadian trade fairs, explore export markets, and engage in short-term training programs in areas like green energy and agriculture technology, sectors Canada has significant expertise in. Culturally, this change means more artistic exchanges as well. St. Lucian musicians, writers, and cultural ambassadors can now travel to Canada for festivals and cultural showcases without visa-related delays, strengthening cultural diplomacy and soft power. The move is both a convenience and a catalyst for deeper people-to-people ties and stronger economic cooperation. Number 3. Grenada. Grenada is often called the Spice Isle for its production of nutmeg and mace, but in recent years it has built a reputation beyond agriculture. Its emphasis on education, healthcare partnerships, and transparent governance has quietly made it one of the region's most stable and well-managed states. Grenada is home to the world-renowned St. George's University, a hub for international medical students, including a significant number of Canadians. Previously, students and families had to face hectic visa processes for even short visits. With visa-free travel, families can now attend graduation ceremonies, explore future academic opportunities, and establish professional connections without bureaucratic hurdles. For entrepreneurs, this change opens doors to Canadian markets and innovation ecosystems. Grenadian businesses in niche sectors like organic agriculture, agritech, and renewable energy will find it easier to pitch their products, attend trade shows, and secure Canadian investors. The policy also enhances tourism linkages. Grenada already receives thousands of Canadian visitors annually, and visa-free access is expected to increase reciprocal travel. This will strengthen tourism's contribution to Grenada's economy, not just in leisure, but in ecotourism, marine science programs, and cultural heritage tourism, areas where Canadian institutions have shown interest. For a country often overshadowed by larger Caribbean economies, this policy is a recognition of Grenada's steady progress as a reliable partner, one focused on transparency and long-term growth. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on the latest news stories on geopolitics, economics, and current affairs impacting your lives. Number 2. Antigua and Barbuda. Antigua and Barbuda's inclusion in Canada's visa-free list marks the culmination of years of deliberate investment in border security, passport integrity, and immigration transparency. This twin island nation has quietly worked to modernize its travel documentation, adopting advanced biometric passport systems and strengthening screening measures for inbound and outbound travelers. These efforts are particularly significant because Antigua and Barbuda were once scrutinized for their citizenship by investment program, which allowed foreign nationals to obtain citizenship through investment. However, the reforms implemented over the past 5 years, including tighter applicant vetting, data sharing with international agencies, and a revamped passport issuance process, have successfully addressed concerns about misuse. Canada's visa waiver is, therefore, not just about tourism convenience. It's a diplomatic recognition of Antigua and Barbuda as a secure and trusted travel partner. For Antigua and Barbuda citizens, the opportunities are tangible. Business executives can now travel for trade fairs, tech expos, and startup incubators in Canada without lengthy planning. Cultural performers and athletes will have easier access to Canadian stages and sports tournaments, strengthening cultural diplomacy. Moreover, families with members living in Canadian cities like Toronto and Montreal can travel spontaneously for special occasions without months of visa processing delays. Economically, this policy could expand Antigua's already thriving tourism sector by encouraging reciprocal Canadian travel, as Canadian airlines consider expanding routes and tourism agencies market Antigua more aggressively. In short, the visa exemption doubles as both a symbol of improved reputation and a platform for expanded economic and cultural exchange. Number 1. Dominica. Dominica's inclusion on Canada's visa-free list is arguably one of the most symbolic decisions in this entire policy shift. While Dominica is a small island with a modest population, its recent focus on border security, modernization, and passport technology has set it apart. The government's adoption of biometric passports, enhanced traveler screening, and international information sharing protocols signaled to Canada and other partners that Dominica is committed to secure, transparent, and efficient travel systems. For Dominican citizens, this is a mobility breakthrough. Students can now visit Canadian universities for interviews and summer programs without enduring long application queues. Professionals in healthcare, agriculture, and tech, fields where Dominica is gradually building expertise, can attend short-term training programs, networking events, and industry conferences with ease. On a cultural level, this means easier participation in diaspora events. Dominicans living in Canadian cities often host cultural festivals, music events, and community gatherings, and this waiver enables family members to attend without complicated planning. For Dominica, this policy is a diplomatic stamp of trust, recognizing the country's commitment to upgrading its border and identity management systems. However, a question arises. What does visa-free actually mean? And what are the specifics? Canada's new visa-free policy for 7 Caribbean nations has generated excitement, but it's important to be clear on what this change actually offers and what it does not. Visa-free travel is not a free pass to move to Canada permanently or bypass immigration laws. Instead, it is designed to simplify short-term travel, making it easier for eligible citizens to visit Canada for specific purposes while keeping Canada's immigration controls intact. Under this new arrangement, citizens of the eligible Caribbean countries can stay in Canada for up to 6 months at a time without applying for a traditional visitor visa. These trips are restricted to purposes such as tourism, family visits, medical consultations, and short-term business activities like attending trade shows, professional networking sessions, or cultural events. For example, someone attending a cousin's wedding in Toronto, exploring Canada's tourist destinations, or joining a weekend industry workshop in Vancouver can now make those trips without facing the long delays and complex paperwork that previously accompanied a visa application. The application process for travel is now faster and more affordable. Instead of compiling extensive documentation, attending consular interviews, and waiting weeks or even months for approval, travelers will simply need to complete an electronic travel authorization online. This quick digital form costs only $7 and is usually approved within minutes, eliminating a major financial and administrative barrier. Frequent travelers, in particular, stand to benefit because repeat trips no longer involve repetitive paperwork or additional visa fees. However, visa-free travel does not give unrestricted access to Canada's labor market or education system. Those looking to work, study for extended periods, or immigrate still need to apply through Canada's regular immigration channels. This distinction is key. Canada's policy focuses on easing temporary visits while maintaining strict control over long-term migration and employment. In other words, travelers cannot legally take jobs, enroll in degree programs, or overstay beyond the allowed 6-month window under this policy. The impact on eligible Caribbean citizens is still transformative. Families with relatives in Canada can now book last-minute flights for birthdays, funerals, and family reunions without months of visa planning. Students exploring Canadian universities can tour campuses more easily. Entrepreneurs can attend investment meetings and industry expos, and cultural ambassadors, like musicians, artists, and athletes, can travel freely for performances and events. What used to be a bureaucratic obstacle course has been replaced by a streamlined, near-instant online approval system. Therefore, the policy also has broader psychological and social implications. It signals trust that Canada recognizes these Caribbean nations as safe, reliable travel partners. This recognition boosts not only tourism and business ties, but also strengthens cultural and diaspora connections. For many, it's more than just travel convenience. It's symbolic of a new era of respect and inclusion in international mobility. In essence, while the policy doesn't open Canada's doors for unrestricted migration, it creates a bridge, a faster, cheaper, and more welcoming path for legitimate short-term visitors. For the Caribbean, it means stronger global mobility, and for Canada, it means closer ties with a region historically underrepresented in global travel privilege systems. If you hold one of these Caribbean passports, where in Canada would you fly first? Toronto, Vancouver, or Montreal? Do you think Canada's visa-free policy will boost Caribbean tourism and business, or is it mainly a political move? In the comment section below, share your thoughts on what more nations should be on Canada's visa-free list. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We bring the latest news stories on geopolitics, economics, changing world order, and current affairs. Things you need to stay informed. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.